Hello, welcome to today's show. Today I want to talk to you about Pope Francis, the Conclave, the next Pope, and the current state of the Church and the Church community as a whole. By now, we all know that Pope Francis died on Easter Monday, the day after Easter Sunday, after he appeared on the balcony to give the traditional blessing and to then spend some time meeting the pilgrims in St Peter's Square. He was clearly, at that point, a very sick and frail man. He didn't look great. But despite how he looked, despite the fact that he was clearly a very ill man, he was there. He turned up and continued to do his duty. I find it all very sad, if I'm honest. I find his death sad, but I also find what has followed his death quite sad. And slightly before his death even. He was asked to take 2 to 3 months off and to recover from his 5 or 6 weeks in hospital with double pneumonia. He went against medical advice and decided, actually, I've still got a service to give. I've got a duty to do. So he did. He was also reportedly, amongst, depending on who you believe and what you listen to, there was suggestion that he should retire. He didn't. He worked up until the end. I think first of all, I want to say thank you to him and thank you to God for his service. Regardless of what people may think, he was the Pope, and I think he did an okay job, as popes go. I think what troubles me and what hurts me and what upsets me is what went on slightly before he died and what has gone on since then. My YouTube feed is full, absolutely full of videos, majority of which are all AI generated, which I'm not loving. What I love about YouTube is it's made by people like us. People sitting and having a view, having an opinion, doing a dance, doing something funny, whatever it is that you're watching, people do. I think when AI starts blasting in, it takes something away from what YouTube is. And that's disappointing to me. But that aside, what is really disappointing is the way that people are behaving. There are a number of YouTube channels that regard themselves and call themselves traditionalist. I have no issue with traditional Catholics. I have no issue with any Catholics. Catholics are Catholics. I am a Catholic, just like the rest are. My issue comes with how certain people behave and how certain people portray themselves and then don't behave in that way. There is a lot of conversations online about the Pope. And I think, despite it not being a political office like the President or the Prime Minister, it's viewed politically by commentators. Well, he didn't do enough for this, or he did too much of that, and he was always there, or he didn't. Whatever his stance is on whatever the issue is that you're passionate about, it's then judged in a very political way. He failed on this, or he excelled on this, or he didn't. And I understand that. I get all of that. What frustrates me and angers me to a point is the way that disrespect is then shown. He was Pope Francis. He was His Holiness the Pope. I've heard reference made to him that Bergoglio has done this. Bergoglio has done that. If you are of a similar mind as Pope Francis was, you are a Bergoglian. The other one that comes up a lot is Father James Martin, who isn't even recognised by some channels as a priest. In fact, they belittle him and his service so much that they call him a sin. Well, these people commit the James Martin sin. As far as I'm aware, James Martin is a priest. Being a priest is not sin. Being gay is not a sin. You cannot say homosexuals and then slate them on YouTube, which is why they don't say homosexuals. They say the James Martin sin or the James Martin crowd. James Martin is a priest. Above all things, he is Father James Martin. I am not aware, and nobody has ever convinced me, that there is any evidence or that he's broken his vows, that he's not kept his commitments, that he has done anything but be a priest. He engages with a group of people that the church has isolated. He engages with a group of people that the church has to do more to bring in. But instead of doing that and saying thanks God for his service, what we'll do is we'll denigrate him and the office of priesthood that he holds by saying the James Martin sin. And quite frankly, it's disgusting. I wasn't actually coming on here for a rant, but this is where it seems to be. James Martin is an ordained Catholic priest. He offers Mass every day, every single day. During his Mass, the sacred body, blood, soul and divinity of Jesus Christ comes down onto that altar just like they do with every other Catholic priest. To denigrate him and his service is appalling. That's a sin. You want to talk sin? That's a sin. You want to discuss Father Martin and Father Martin's views and his outreach and all the bits he does, knock yourselves out. But it's Father Martin or Father James. It's not the James Martin sin. The last time I checked the catechism, it's been a couple of weeks since I last had it off the bookshelf, what it actually said about gay people was they should be seen and dealt with charity. Where is the charity in what you're saying? Where is the charity in what you are doing? There is none. So don't sit and say, I am a traditional Catholic and we want to return to tradition and we want to go backwards and whatever else it is. Don't tell me that's what you are and then not be Catholic. If you are a traditional Catholic, you follow the catechism just like everybody else does. But actually, it doesn't sort of fit and it won't get me the clicks and the YouTube numbers. And actually, I don't like him. I don't like the guy. So I'm just going to be bitchy. I'm going to be bitchy. I'm going to be offensive. I'm going to denigrate his office. Because, of course, that's what Christ wants. Jesus Christ, risen from the dead, decides, actually, I would really love it if all these traditional Catholics in my name went on the rampage and sort of had a go at James Martin because, actually, he may hold the office of a priest. You see, that doesn't sound like God to me. That actually sounds more Satan to me. You are unaware that this is. You want to know what the trouble with the church and the world at the minute is? This is part of that. This is part of the trouble. You can't find any other thing in common with a man. Personally, take it or leave it. Doesn't do. I don't see it. I don't get it. He's a priest. I would have no issue going to this man to hear my confession. I would have no issue going to this man and receiving communion. I would have no issue with this man doing any of the priestly faculties that he is ordained to do. I'm not suggesting I'm inviting him for Sunday lunch, but to be fair, it's not often I invite priests for Sunday lunch. I don't get it. Like him or not like him, you should have respect for him. And if you don't respect him, you should certainly respect the office. He was called by the Holy Spirit. He was ordained by the bishop through the power of the Holy Spirit. He is a priest. Pope Francis was ordained a priest, consecrated a bishop, and elected pope. You don't like it, talk to the cardinals that elected him. Tell the cardinals, very much a bit like your congressman and your local MP, talk to those that represent you. This is what we want in the next one. This is what we're not loving, and I wish we were talking more about this, and I think you knock yourselves out. I think it was Paul VI who said the smoke of Satan has entered the sanctuary. And to me, part of that smoke is this. We talk about a division in the church. We talk about a divide. Schisms and heretics and all sorts of different things. But this feeds this. This feeds it. This is where it gets its... If you don't see that denigrating somebody's office, somebody's position, somebody's vocation to a hateful name, a syndrome or a sin, if you don't get that, then God help you, because I can't, clearly. Pope Francis was Pope Francis. His Holiness Pope Francis. And I'm sure, had you bumped into him, you would have afforded him all the respect that that office deserves. I had a priest when I was younger who went on to become a very good lifelong friend. Not seen him for a while, love him to bits. When he came to the parish, he was the new style priest, i.e. he didn't want to be called Father. Call me Andrew. Call me Andy. It's fine. No, I'll stick with Father. Thanks. Because that's respect. Now, I grew to like the man. I grew to love the man. He's an amazing person. But that aside, even if I didn't like the man, I would respect the fact that he is the priest. He is Father. And I think what really baffles me is that when you like somebody, it's Cardinal Burke, Bishop Strickland. They're the two that are popping into videos at the minute on my feed. So he gets Cardinal, he gets Bishop. This one, because he's happens to be gay, celibate, as the catechism calls for him to be. Forget the vow of celibacy in the catechism calls for gay people to be celibate. So he does what the church asks of him. He does that as well in his priestly vows, but he does what the church asks of him, and you still denigrate him. You still disrespect him. Bergoglio. He's a Bergoglio. If you want division, continue. If you want the dark side to win, continue. If you want to see the church split, continue doing what you're doing. Or what you could actually do, and could actually suggest to your followers and your viewers, is, listen, I don't like this guy's policies, so we're going to pray for him. I don't like the way this guy does something, so we're going to pray for him and we're going to pray for the church. No. What we'll actually do is sit here and slate him. And we won't just slate him a little bit. We will slate him on every single video we do, because it gets the clicks. We found out with Alex Jones and the InfoWars thing that hate sells. Hate clicks. Hate gets the adverts. But hate also gets you in a lot of trouble. My dad, God rest him, once said to me, never miss an opportunity to shut up. Nothing nice to say, don't say anything. But don't profess to be a traditional Catholic. Don't even profess to be Catholic if what you are doing is so anti-Catholic. The biggest issue I have with these videos, going back to my original thought, my original reason for this video, is the videos that are coming out, that a lot of which are AI driven, which I don't like. I'd much prefer YouTube is about people. It's about me doing this. It's about you doing what you're doing, people dancing and commenting. Whatever it is you do and you want people to see, this is a platform to do it. When AI gets involved, it takes away the people, and I'm not a big fan of that, I'll be honest. But what a lot of these videos are saying is that the popes died, it's the end of the world, there'll be no more, either there'll be no more popes, the next one will be the last one was the last one, the church is ending, the world is ending. It just goes on and on and on. So, I wanted to clear something up. And I'm going to use a source that I know my traditional Catholic colleagues, friends, will love. The late Malachi Martin. Father Malachi Martin. Although he preferred Malachi Martin or Dr. Martin. Divisive character. Not without controversy. Some say he was a priest, some say he left the priest, but either way, a very educated man, a very smart man, and much more smarter than I will ever be. He was asked a question on the Art Bell phone-in show in 1996. If you want to find it, it's on YouTube. It's episode 2, Art Bell with Malachi Martin. You'll find it. And he talks about it's 2 hours and 39 minutes in, to give you a hand. 2 hours, 39 minutes in. He talks about the prophecy of St Malachy, because he's asked by a lady called Joan what he thinks of the prophecy. And he says, yes, there is a prophecy. I am aware of this prophecy. However, the last 2 popes will be Gloria or Levi, and then Petrus Romanus. But the problem with the prophecy is it does not exclude that there may be popes in between. So at this point, at the time of that recording, the Pope was John Paul II. Between then and Peter the Roman, Petrus Romanus, nobody can tell if there's going to be popes in between. It doesn't exclude popes in between. I've looked at the list. Yes, I can see tenuous links with some. Some are very good links. John Paul II. What did it say? John Paul II. From the labour of the sun or of the eclipse of the sun. He was born during the solar eclipse. You go slightly further into Pope Francis's, and some say, well, he was Petrus Romanus because his father was named Peter. Well, unless his father was the Pope, he's not Peter the Roman, is he? I think we're clutching at straws with that one, personally. But either way, you are hearing it from a man that is much more educated than most of us will ever be. that has Vatican insider experience, that knows the prophecy very well. And this guy says, actually, the prophecy's there, I get that, and I think there will be, the last two popes will be Gloria or Levi and Petrus Romanus. However, the prophecy is vague enough for there to be popes in between. It does not exclude that there may be popes in between. Word for word. That's Malachi Martin's view. So if that's the case, why then are we being bombarded with videos that say this is the last one? The next one will be the last one. The last one was the last one. There's only two more. There's not enough. This is... The first theory was that the last, after Petrus Romanus, whenever he turns up, that would be the end of the world. Then it was that it was going to be the end of the church. Nobody actually knows. Do you know why nobody knows? Because God hasn't decided. The Bible tells us, the gospel tells us, nobody knows except me. Angels don't know, Our Lady doesn't know, the saints don't know. Nobody knows the date of this will end. It's a prophecy. It's not a fact. So I would suggest to everybody that's concerned about this, to everybody that's worried, to everybody that's interested, if you are looking at things, bear in mind two things. One, only God knows. Only God knows when things are going to end. Only God knows when the last pope will be, and only God knows because he's told us. Believe him. The second thing is that we can sit and speculate till the cows come home. The only thing that we can actually do, that we can do to influence any of this in a better way, is to pray. Pray for the Pope, for the cardinals that have got to elect that Pope. Pray for the church. I am having a great time watching, and I'm going to find his channel so I can actually mention it. One guy who has actually been, you'll find him by looking up Determined to be Catholic. His channel, many would regard as traditional. Either way, I like the channel. Traditional or not, it's a good Catholic channel. And on that channel, he has been doing profiles of the cardinals, which I find quite interesting because I knew nothing about Pope Francis before he was Pope. I knew about Ratzinger when Cardinal Ratzinger. I knew about him before he became Pope, but I knew nothing about Pope Francis before he became Pope. So having these profiles and these in-depth things I find quite interesting. But ultimately, the only thing that we can do to influence anything or to have an impact on anything is to pray. Pray, hope, and don't worry, as Padre Pio tells us. I hope and pray that the Pope will be elected. I hope he's a uniting figure, and I hope that those running Catholic tradition sites or go back to tradition, return to tradition, let's have tradition, whatever, I have no issue with what you're saying. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I have a massive issue with how you're saying it. Have some respect. I'm Rob Weston. If you want to get in touch with us, don't forget you can. Email address hail@hailtalkradio.com. hail@hailtalkradio.com. You can also find us on our new Instagram page, The Rob Weston Show, all one word. Last one got hacked, so we've had to start again. So do give us a follow on that. Coming up in the next couple of weeks, we do have some interesting episodes and some more of your emails with Jonathan Winstanley. And if you want to get in touch with either him or me, or you've got a subject you think we should cover, drop us an email. Hail Talk Radio. Until next time, wherever you are, whatever you do, be kind.